This week on Side Projects. All right, I'm gonna start with some brickwork this morning, and it's very uneven on this end. I can match things up to these bricks because they are all cemented in. So even though they're not flat, level, or straight, that's what I'll be going up to. And as you can see, people have been stepping on these over time and they've been lowering down. And there's a high point there, and there's a high point over there, but my board's not quite long enough. But you can see here, there's a pretty big gap there. So I need to bring all these bricks up and then fill in the space down here. I've got these tools and a bucket of sand. Got a good size done in one day. Repairing always takes a lot longer than building it brand new. So I just got this little square, only those little bricks. This spot here is a little high, so I have to hit that down with my mallet. You can see that it kind of has this shape to it. So I'm just gonna start by beating it down into shape and hopefully working some of that sand out in this direction, and then fix up the last little bit here. All right, I got all the bricks in and it's looking just fine. There's a little hump in the middle here, but it doesn't matter to me. For a repair job, this is just fine. And now I'm gonna dump some sand down on top of it and sweep it into all the cracks. Keep them all stable. All right, we got the sand put in and I watered it down and it's looking great. And I've got this compost pile going in the ground. I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but I believe it's called the frugal hugel coulter method. And I'm gonna end up growing tomatoes on top of it with a trellis. I just dug out this bed here for sunflowers. I'm gonna do 4 rows of sunflowers there, and I'll do some more over here. These are huge. This female flower on the pumpkin just opened this morning, and you can see how different it is from the male counterpart. There's another female flower. That one hasn't opened. You can see a teeny one right here. I wanted to come out here at night and show you that it's starting to turn orange. These start out green like that in the day, and then the tips just start getting orange at night. And then by the next day, they open up. I planted a couple of my Everglades tomatoes here so that they can trail up this tree, and then I can have a tomato tree. I also put this one in a pot upside down, but the material I used for this is very crumbly, so I need to fix that up and change it. I buried a brick under the ground here, and I set this post up against it, cut it at an angle so that it is holding the fence up here just enough that I don't have to make a repair on this quite yet, because we just don't have the money for it. I'm not sure if it's ours or the neighbor's, but it's easier to just keep it from falling further for now. And I would try to push it back up more, except that the post on the back here is pretty bent, and I feel like if I go to push this at all, it'll just snap. So just trying to keep it as still as I can. This is gonna be a nice little grove in the end. I'll probably plant something nice over here. All right, I'm gonna build a little sifter to sift my soil for seed starts. And I've got all these materials laid out. And there we go. We've got, this thing is screwed together on the sides, and I put wood glue in between every joint. And then on the bottom, once I had it in a nice square, I put these pieces on all the way around, which gave a nice little lip. And then I put the mesh down on top of the lip, and then I screwed it down with other little pieces all around. And what I'm going to do with it. Put some material in there, and then you can shake it back and forth, and it leaves you the small pieces and takes out the big pieces. And in just a couple of minutes, I now have quite a bit of usable compost for seed sprouts and a nice pile of wood to go back into a compost pile later. And now I'm just going to mix it with some of this sandy soil that I have. So the beans have not been popping up. The cowpeas have not been popping up except for right here. And I started looking at the soil and watering it like extra hard. And I'm noticing that the soil in anywhere except for this little zone right there is not really absorbing water. This is a very hydrophobic soil here. It's sand, and it likes to sit like right on the top and then run off. And so there's really, I water this constantly, and you can see that it's completely dry. But this, you can see I've pre-watered because the sand in here has a real hard time getting wet. And this was kind of like mixing concrete in the sense that I had to keep adding water and it would slowly get sloshy again. And now I have this very wet mixture, which is great for sprouting seeds. So these are all the seeds that I just got out of the garden. Some of them are sprouted, a couple of them, but for the most part they're not. And those are the ones from the new package. These are my cowpea starts. This is my secondary box of cowpea starts, and in that little box is my habanero starts. My uncle supplied me with a lot of his leftover compost that he's not using anymore, which is great because I ran out of my own compost that was usable because my compost production has been backburnered, or rather slow. Now most of what fills up these bean troughs is my compost, but it looked so similar to the soil that I decided to go ahead and use my uncle's soil as the topsoil, at least, because it looks so dramatically different, and it's really easy to see where that garden is now. I built some swales around the bananas. They keep falling apart, and I keep rebuilding them, and it's going very well. This banana has produced 2 leaves in the last week. This one's produced 2 as well, I believe. That one hasn't put any out yet, but that's okay. This cactus has been putting out a ton of flowers. Been very pretty. They go from yellow to orange. Very pretty.